Okay, this really probably shouldn't need to be said at the start of this video, but just in case you didn't realize it was coming, this is not going to be a very short video. So let's face it, over the last year or so, it's been a pretty dark time in WWE, just in general when it comes to releases, and 2021 was probably as dark as it's ever going to get. And look, you can say what you will, you can say it's not as surprising now as what it was maybe last year, but for the most part, there were still some pretty blockbuster people that were let go from WWE, so we're going to delve into it. This is, like I just said, a biggie, so buckle up. I'm Gareth from What Culture Wrestling, and this is every single wrestler that was released from WWE in 2021. Deep breath. Number 80, Bobby Fish. In all honesty, Bobby Fish feels like one of those guys that did need to get out of WWE at this current moment in time. If you look at NXT 2.0 right now, he was never going to fit into that. And he's left, he's gone to AEW, he's kicking all the ass, and he's even rejoined forces with Adam Cole and some other people maybe on their way too. Number 79, Mercedes Martinez. Let's face it, she was criminally underutilized when she was in NXT, maybe on both occasions, but more so on the second time when she went back after all that retribution debacle stuff that went down. So the less said about that, the better, but she was let go in August 2021. Number 78, Tyler Rust. See, the thing is with Tyler Rust, I became a fan of him just as he seemed to get a bit of smoke behind him and his Malcolm Bivens partnership and all the Diamond Mine stuff that was going down. That looked set to be great, but in the end it wasn't, and he was soon released before the end of 2021. It was really sad and we lost our Rust. But if you look at the way Diamond Mine are currently being presented, he may have just dodged a bullet. Number 77, Bronson Reed. Now for the last time on this list, we're going to talk about a person who's held a title within NXT being let go in 2021. But if you look at Bronson Reed, he won that title during this year, looked like he was set to go onto the main roster and kick all the ass. He had dark matches, it was looking so great. He was built to be somebody that you think Vince McMahon would get a hard on for, but that did not happen. It was released, we all cried, but Jonah looks to be kicking all the ass elsewhere. Number 76, Jake Atlas. It's a shame with Jake Atlas because he had such an easy upside that he could have built behind as like a babyface character. He had an incredible finisher, that cartwheel DDT thing, but over 3 years of being with WWE, he never really graduated from being the jobber that got battered by Tommaso Ciampa. I remember. Like the first batch of people that we're talking about on this list, he too was let go in August, and it was just really sad. Number 75, Kona Reeves. So just work this out for a minute. Kona Reeves was in the developmental system, if that's what you want to call it, for 7 long years and didn't really make any TV appearances, didn't do anything of any note, and then he was just unceremoniously let go because they had nothing for him. What a run. To be fair though, we did well to last that long, so you've got to salute him, to be honest. That was my salute. Number 74, ZECHARIAH Smith. 300 pounds, 7 foot tall, what could go wrong? Well, everything apparently. So despite looking like a genuine monster, like almost levels of monster, he just didn't really do anything, didn't really get a chance to be on television at all, and he was released in August. What a shame. Number 73, HALE. So within his 8-month stint as part of WWE, he joined in January, debuted in NXT in May, and then he was a bit of a 205 regular up until that brand seemed to die and now become a weird like NXT 2.0 underground thing for people in NXT. He didn't do a lot. Number 72, Giant ZANJEER. Remember WWE's superstar spectacular thing that they did to like really get the Indian market in and get them to watch more WWE? Yeah, this guy was a part of that. And then nothing else really happened and he got released. Good times. Number 71, Stephen Smith. First referee we're going to talk about in this list, and this is quite a sad one because he was signed to NXT through Ohio Valley Wrestling. He did all this in 2019, then got his chance to become a referee in NXT, and it looked like he had maybe a career for life, potentially, on the developmental brand as far as life can be in that place, and it just didn't work out that way. It was another big old shame. I'm going to say those words a lot in this video, I can feel it. Number 70, Desmond Troy. Bit of a cult favourite jobber under the name of Devon Dejanay, wasn't really given a chance to do anything more than that, and then he was released, so good times. Number 69, Chase Parker. Honestly, I was absolutely gutted about this because, as you know, I'm a big NXT guy. Ever Rise were my guys. They were hilarious all the way through NXT when they were together. Chase Parker was just one of those people that just made you laugh, made you chuckle whenever he was on screen, and then he was just let loose, and now he's doing all kinds of fun stuff in AEW, so go and watch him there. Just go and watch him. Number 68, Matt Martell. Again, everything I just said about Chase, add that to Matt. They're on AEW now, being 2.0. They are the 2.0 of 2.0, better than NXT 2.0. show. Go and watch them. Number 67, KILLIAN DAIN. Oh, this guy kind of peaked in WWE when it came to sanity, didn't he? He had all those incredible takeover matches, that big takeover, I want to say New Orleans ladder match thing that he did, and he looked great in that. And then nothing really happened after that for him. He just got thrown in with Drake Maverick to be this kind of mismatch odd couple thing, which was looking like it had some signs of life. And then he got ripped apart because he got kicked out of WWE, and then Drake Maverick eventually got kicked out of WWE as well. Spoiler, he's on the list. Number 66, MARINA SHAFIR. For a time, MARINA SHAFIR just worked as the accompanying sidekick of Shayna Baszler. She just looked great. There was a role that was perfect for her in NXT. So when Shayna Baszler came up to the main roster, what did? They left MARINA down in NXT to fend for herself. She then fell at the waistline and then fell out the company because that's just what happens in WWE. They don't think these things through. Number 65, ARTURO RUAS. So let's work this out. He had 6 years on the company's books. He was on Raw Underground for a bit. He even got a draft spot this year. And there was a time when he was going to be in the Diamond Mine, but Arturo Ruas, I can't say his name, but neither can you in WWE anymore because he got kicked out after all that stuff, all that good stuff, and he's gone. Number 64, CURT STALLION. Yeah, CURT was released with a bunch of people in June 2021. He was part of the people that didn't really do much in NXT or 205 Live, so he was gone. That was it. There was nothing else to it. Number 63, Sunil Singh. Honestly, after all the Jinder Mahal WWE Championship stuff happened, the Bollywood boys just in general, but Sunil Singh specifically, just fell down into the rest of the pack, and there was nothing else for them. Vince McMahon clearly didn't have anything in mind for them after that, so nothing happened thereafter. Now they're released. Number 62, Samir Singh. To be honest, Samir Singh at least got a few highlight reel moments. He got dropped on his head a lot, thrown off cages. He had a few things that are memorable and replayable in his WWE career, but now he's gone and we can all cry. Number 61, Lars Sullivan. When you think up in your mind monster, the words monster in WWE, you probably come to think of Lars Sullivan because that's the kind of person that Vince McMahon would want to get behind and create this big monster character for, but it just never really worked out for him in WWE. He could cite the injuries, you could cite the anxiety issues, you could cite the fact that he did some really creepy stuff on Instagram when he was like sliding into people's DMs, but all in all, didn't work out and now he's gone. Number 60, Steve Cutler. Honestly, of the 2 members of Forgotten Sons that weren't really cringy and horrible and just people that you didn't want to follow on Twitter, you felt like Steve Cutler was one of those that could maybe just take anything he was given and just produce something good with it. Forgotten Sons were probably one of the only teams that weren't over at the time of the NXT tag team division, just in general, just kept spurting out over teams, but you just sense maybe they could do something if they got onto the main roster, but they got there and then nothing happened, and this is just the story of this list, isn't it? Number 59, Andrade. The writing was on the wall for Andrade for a long time, wasn't it? Look at this guy, he was a former NXT champion. He was genuinely somebody that could fill in this Eddie Guerrero type missing spot hole that WWE have right now. They've been trying to do that for so long, but Vince McMahon thought, oh, he doesn't really speak English that well, so we just kept putting him into stupid storylines with Angel Gaza, and they were squabbling, they were falling out. And he asked for his release in March, he got it, and now he's brilliant in AEW. Again, something you're seeing a lot in this list. Number 58, Billie Kay. Honestly, it looked like Billie Kay was carving out her own little niche on SmackDown as this comedic relief, which was so different to everything else that we had in the women's division, but alas, Vince McMahon doesn't like to laugh, he likes to make us cry. Number 57, Peyton Royce. And to be honest, Peyton Royce was seen as the person who was more physically talented in the ring, more gifted, more of an upside, more potential between the ropes as a single star. Evidently not. She was booted out as well. Number 56, Samoa Joe. Finally, something resembling a happy ending because Samoa Joe was released after wearing a mac at WrestleMania and being the hero that we deserved. He was released, but then he was brought back. He was brought back into NXT as like an enforcer and then a competitor, and then he got injured. That was after he won the belt. It's all a bit of an up and down roller coaster, but here's hoping Samoa Joe returns back better than ever and kicks all the booty.
Number 55, Leon Ruff.
So I guess the saddest thing about Leon Ruff is that he was booked like a competition winner when he won the North American Championship, but then when he lost it, he was pretty much treated like that for realsies. He got lost in the shuffle, he floundered a little bit, and then he was eventually released in August, and it was all just very, very sad. And for those who spotted that a change was jumper midway through the video, thank goodness you're still paying attention, this is a long one.
Number 54, Kalisto.
The good Lucha Things man who won a United States Championship at one point. Remember that? Oh, crazy times. In all honesty though, the ceiling was probably just too low for him to fly in the way that he could do, and he was released, he was let go, which is just a darn shame. We could have had Rey Mysterio 2.0. 2.0 seems to pop up in this list a lot as well. 2.0 is the way to go.
Number 53, Chelsea Green.
It was a weird one with Chelsea Green because she just felt like injuries just kept halting her momentum every time she picked up a head of steam. She got injured, she broke her arm, she just never had really any luck in that department. So after long, they were just like, well, we don't know what we're going to do with you. We've forgotten what we're going to do with you, so we're just going to let you go. Number 52, Mickie James. How did they fumble Mickie James? It's a veteran. She's like a WWE legend, potential future Hall of Famer. Probably is going to be a surefire Hall of Famer, but they still squandered her even after she came back in that incredible takeover match with Asuka. As you can see, I am bitter. I am bitter over losing Mickie James.
51, Tucker.
Oh, the defining moment in his singles push came in the form of a face that looked so dejected. It was like me walking into a room with both of the Dudleys and proposing a question I do not know the answer to, and them looking at me like I'm an idiot. Every day of my life, really, then. Moral of the story here, though, is that Tucker deserved better.
Number 50, Bo Dallas.
In all honesty, it felt like Bo Dallas has been circling the drain with WWE since before the pandemic and before all these big releases started to happen. So when it did actually happen, it was an odd surprise in the fact that it hadn't happened sooner, and Bo Dallas just didn't seem that fussed, so nobody else was really.
Number 49, Mojo Rawley.
You got hype, I got hype. Rob Gronkowski had hype, but then he didn't have hype, so nobody had hype with Mojo Rawley. The hype was gone, so was he.
Number 48, Wesley Blake.
To be honest, the former NXT Tag Team Champions struggled a little bit without Buddy Murphy there to prop him back up again. And then when he finally did get a bit of a run with Steve Cutler on the main roster, nothing really came about that as well. And then he was released. He was just another person who fell through the cracks.
Number 47, Jessamine Duke.
Remember the 4 horsewomen of WWE taking on the 4 horsewomen of MMA? What a match. It was epic. It was the SummerSlam Survivor Series WrestleMania. Oh no, it didn't happen. This didn't happen, and now everyone's gone that could make it happen. What a waste.
Number 46, Ari Sterling.
His defining thing that he did in WWE was jobbing out to Cameron Grimes in 2021. Says a lot, really, which is all just very sad.
Number 45, KAVITA DEVI.
Not really much to know here, seeing as though she was in WWE for 4 years, but she was in the WrestleMania pre-show kickoff Battle Royale thing once, so go for her. I think the term's good for her, but my brain's starting to hurt.
Number 44, Mia Yim.
Back to Retribution Land we go. Oh, this is so bad. And it's more tragic that Mia Yim's main roster run, whatever you want to call it, started and ended with Retribution. By the time she got her name back, she wasn't used again in WWE, and now she's gone. It's just... oh, this is such a painful list.
Number 43, Vanessa Bourne.
Very much a casualty of the fact that NXT is no longer the place it used to be. She was very much a Triple H girl, but now she doesn't fall into all things multicolored 2.0 and whatever Vince McMahon wants NXT to be right now, so she was gone.
Number 42, SKYLAR Story.
So having signed for NXT during the pandemic, the former Brandi Lauren never once wrestled under her name SKYLAR Story in WWE. Oh boy, so much talent, so much waste.
Number 41, Alexander Wolfe.
So there we have a former Sanity and Imperium member who just decided to call it quits with WWE in June. I think they confirmed his release in May, but at that point it wasn't that much of a shock because this stuff had started happening a long time before. I think what makes this one smart that little bit more though is the fact that they absolutely obliterated his character on the way out, so they knew he was going and thought, what can we do? How can we pay our respects? Oh, let's kill him.
Number 40, Velveteen Dream.
Yeah, we read the stories, not much more to add to this. Bye-bye, Dream.
Number 39, Braun Strowman.
If you just look at the turn of events that happened with Braun Strowman over the last year, it's pretty frightening. He went from the Universal Champion at Mania 36 to then fighting Shane McMahon at Mania 37 and then being in the main event of WrestleMania Backlash to just going because his contract was too big and they didn't want to keep him around anymore. And now he's got a shaved head and he likes hanging around with EC3. Go him.
Number 38, Lana.
I think the frustrating thing about Lana is the fact that she improved so much in between the ropes in the time that she was there. And she was supposed to be a manager first and foremost, but WWE just weren't having that. Said be a wrestler, tried her best to be a wrestler, and then her best got her released, got her fired, so that's just a real bad shame.
Number 37, Buddy Murphy.
Remember Buddy getting off with Aaliyah, Rey Mysterio's daughter? Yeah, that was creepy. Oh, but it was worth it because a really big story happened afterwards. Oh wait, no it didn't. We lost him, we lost Buddy, and I was kicking ass on the indies. Go Buddy!
Number 36, Ezra Judge.
Rapidly rebranded as EJ Njuka in MLW. He did not give a toss about only wrestling twice on a loop in NXT. He left in May, he's gone into pastures new, so yes, that's what he's gonna do.
Number 35, Aleister Black.
Yet another example of WWE failing everybody who shows a little bit of promise from NXT. This guy went from being an NXT champion to knocking on doors and waiting for knocks and just fighting people. Now he's incredible in AEW. He pops about of darkness and kicks old men in the face. Yeah,
Number 34, Ruby Riott.
Honestly, I feel like the real hole that Ruby Riott left behind was in the locker room more than on television, mostly because of the fact she wasn't on television enough to do that. But we just look at the likes of Liv Morgan cutting promos now, even saying that her friends lost their jobs because of people like Becky Lynch and the big contracts. It says an awful lot, and now Ruby Soho is living her best life in AEW. More power to her!
Number 33, August Grey.
Not much more to add to this. August Grey looked up at the lights a few times before getting kicked out of NXT. What more do you want?
Number 32, Ariya Daivari.
Another sign that WWE increasingly have no idea what they're doing, because this guy is so damn talented, but he just kept playing second fiddle to the rest of the cruiserweights that were getting any spotlight on them, so he was thoroughly wasted, and it felt like we were wasting our time watching him be wasted.
Number 31, Tyler Breeze.
Prince Pretty looked like he had a job for life in WWE because he was everywhere. He was on all the social media stuff, he was on all the videos, he'd do all the meet and greets. He was just a really marketable dude, a nice dude, a friendly dude, and a dude who now no longer plies his trade in WWE, but he seems to be doing well elsewhere because he's a savvy businessman with a business mind.
Number 30, Fandango.
15 years in a company, and then how do they repay you? Bye, mate, there's your papers.
Number 29, Santana Garrett.
Her biggest notch on her belt whilst working in WWE was the fact that she worked in the first ever quarter hour within NXT that beat AEW. She did that in a match against Ty Conti, and then those two had a match in AEW just as like a FU to WWE for releasing them both.
Number 28, Isaiah Swerve Scott.
How do you miss on Isaiah Swerve Scott? This guy could talk, he could wrestle out of his socks, he had an incredible look, he screamed future world champion, he had a whole team behind him, but no, WWE don't like nice things, they don't like giving us nice things either, so we lost our Scott.
Number 27, Tino Sabatelli.
So this guy broke into WWE off the back of Breaking Ground 2015, remember that? And he seemed like he was going to be protected because he was big, he was strong, and he came from this developmental show, but he wasn't, was he? Because he's gone now, so why do we care? Why do we get ourselves attached to these things?
Number 26, Nia Jax.
You can't possibly fire somebody who's got an attachment to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Can you? In all honesty, she's probably got one of the stranger legacies in WWE history. If you just look back and listen to her whole, that tells you everything. She's since relaunched a career under her own name, but it remains to be seen whether she's going to continue wrestling. Fingers crossed she maybe does, because, you know, memes.
Number 25, Eva Marie.
This was a bad idea from start to finish, really, and it was really badly presented. Eva Marie, like, she didn't really care, and to be honest, like, why would she? She's got other stuff going on outside of wrestling. Vince McMahon doesn't seem to care. Doudrop now seems to not care, and she's still called Doudrop. It was just a mess, this, wasn't it?
Number 24, Harry Smith.
What even was this? He like returned for a dark match, got a contract because the dark match went over well, and then nada, nothing. Damn it!
Number 23, Keith Lee.
For me, this is probably the most disheartening release of all of 2021 because Keith Lee just screamed megastar. You've all seen the video backstage with him and Vince McMahon, and he's like, you've got all this stuff, you got all this spunk, you're gonna be great. And he would have been if they were just letting him be Keith Lee and not this guy who wears a leotard and just doesn't get used in the way he should. He also got diagnosed with COVID for a spell, which is really sad, and he had all these heart issues that came about with that, and he just, nothing really seemed to align for him, and then when he did, he was presented as the Bearcat. He didn't want to be the Bearcat. Nobody wanted to be the Bearcat.
Number 22, Karrion Kross.
Another one that really stinks for me because I'm probably one of the few people in the What Culture office that loves Karrion Kross, and I thought he could have been the next big, indomitable monster in WWE, but no, instead we put a helmet on him, some weird spandexy stuff and gladiator things, and he was gone before we knew it in November.
Number 21, Lince Dorado.
The first of the Lucha House Party men that were really angling for a release long before they did get let go in November, and it just felt like the writing was on the wall for them for a very long time, wasn't it? And both men definitely have the talents. They could have done something probably in another company, but they were just there filling up the numbers really on SmackDown, Raw, wherever they were used to do Lucha House things.
Number 20, Grand Metalik.
Honestly, just look at the respect that Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson had for Grand Metalik when he was in WWE. That should tell you all you need to know about this guy and what he can now do now he's left.
Number 19, Jeet Rama.
He just looked like he'd made his way into the new NXT 2.0, but then he got beaten by Boa and he got beaten by Sikoa, and then he's no Moa.
Number 18, Katrina Cortez.
Remember that time that Sin Cara had like a masked lady friend that came down to the ring with him and fought against Andrade and Zelina Vega? Yeah, me neither. And though that was her only real mega notable thing that she did on the main roster, she did actually wrestle in 205 Live for a spell, so at least she did something.
Number 17, Tony Nese.
So you go from literally being never used, and when you are used, you're normally squashed, to going to AEW and on your first night wrestling for the TNT Championship, Tony, they did a good thing for you here.
Number 16, Trey Baxter.
He was introduced as Cora Jade's blame boyfriend person. He seems to be going down like the weird underdog superhero thing where he gets beaten up and battered, maybe even cheated on at some point, because that's what Vince McMahon likes to do. Thankfully, we're not going to get that because he's gone, which isn't really a good thing, I guess, but it's better than that.
Number 15, Zeddy Ramir.
Never really given a chance to get going on NXT. Probably could have been something decent. Probably could have had a chance to shine if only Vince McMahon didn't like just shaking and wielding his axe.
Number 14, Jessica Meyer.
Oh, the latest rendition of the Robert Stone brand just didn't work out for everyone, did it? Aaliyah managed to run away to SmackDown before all this SHIT hit the fan, but Jessica Meyer and another person were not so lucky.
Number 13, B-Fab.
First person as part of Hit Row to suddenly just be released after going to the main roster for about a week. It just caused all the uproar, it caused all the fuss, and maybe it could have potentially even led to the rest of the gang leaving the ship too. Not sure what happened there, but we'll move on.
Number 12, Oney Lorcan.
Weirdly enough, Oney Lorcan nearly left WWE in 2019. That was before his incredible run alongside Danny Burch, so we were nearly deprived of that and the NXT Tag Team Championship title win, but eventually he was let go, but not before John Laurinaitis misspelled his name.
Number 11, Ember Moon.
See, when Ember Moon returned back to NXT after this awful Achilles injury that she'd had that had kept her out for so long, it felt like, yes, we've got another person here who can come in as a veteran, like a Finn Balor type person, maybe even win the belt and be a person that everyone can try and overcome. Yes, it's going to be great. But she was then thrown into a team with Shotzi Blackheart. That team was then split up so Shotzi Blackheart could go to SmackDown. Then Ember Moon did nothing. They did nothing with Ember Moon.
Number 10, Frankie Monet.
She came into NXT with all the bells and whistles, premiere after premiere. She had like an encore to the premiere. There was loads of things. She was just beating up people. Then she lost to Raquel Gonzalez, and then she just lost a job. So again, very sad ending to a very sad story. Number 9, Scarlett Bordeaux. Another big casualty of the Karrion Kross debacle thing that happened on Monday Night Raw, because Scarlett wasn't even brought along with him. He had a package with an entrance, a manager, all these cool mystical things, and WWE went, nah, scrap that, put a helmet on him and leave her at home. Stupid.
Number 8, John Morrison.
Now listen, this ain't no make-believe. John Morrison is going to kill it wherever he goes next, because he's one of the most talented people ever to set foot in WWE. You can just fight me on that, because if you look what he did in Impact, look what he did in Lucha Underground, this guy has so much to offer, much more to offer than being just in the Miz and Morrison and doing stupid, drip, goofy stuff.
Number 7, Top Dollar.
Seemed a little more interested in talking about AEW stars trainers than, you know, just being a wrestler in WWE for the most part, and he didn't really get his chance to do much of that on the main roster because he was kicked out after apparently causing a bit of a fuss because of B-Fab getting cut loose. He went to bat for her, which is great, good for him, but it may have cost him his job.
Number 6, Shanti Adonis.
Another massive waste here because Adonis just looked like he could give so much in the long run. He was the scrappy dude of Hit Row. He was a personal highlight of mine every time he was on NXT, but he's probably going to go and just destroy whatever independent scene, Impact scene, AEW scene that he lands on next.
Number 5, Tegan Nox.
Another person whose main roster and NXT career in general was just ravaged by injuries, by knee injury after knee injury. Every time she picked up some steam, some momentum, she was cut down. Then she finally got fit. She turned up on SmackDown with Shotzi, never got a women's title, tag title shot it was, and then she went to Raw and did nothing, and it just makes my brain feel like I've wasted my life. I've wasted it.
Number 4, Drake Maverick.
Honestly, Drake Maverick was one of the few people to make a real positive out of those releases when they happened straight away in that moment, because he did this video, this heartbreaking video where he was confessing how he loved WWE and he didn't want to be let go. So WWE brought him back. They put him in a tournament. It looked like we were going to get a happy ending. And then they released him again and he put an even better video out there. So go and look at that and give this guy all the support in the world.
Number 3, Shane Thorne.
Slapjack, slapjack, slapjack. And then at the end, Crocodile Dundee. This guy definitely saved himself by getting released.
Number 2, Jackson Riker.
This guy got a major push despite pissing off pretty much everybody in the back, in the main roster, on SmackDown, Raw, you name them. He annoyed them by tweeting out some very controversial stuff. If you don't know it, go and check it out. And then he beat Elias, and then they had no plan because and then WWE generally don't. And number 1, Bray Wyatt. Oh, wow, this was just a big old shock, wasn't it? Because this guy had been the biggest merch seller in WWE, just been a guy that seemed, even though things would go awful, the storylines wouldn't be great, he just seemed untouchable in terms of always having a place near the top of the card because he just moved that merch. He had a big program with Randy Orton coming into WrestleMania. He burnt people, there was black goo, and then he got buried. He got squashed at WrestleMania, and then he did a Firefly thing and disappeared, and now he's doing movies. So great, good for you, Bray. Go and kick all the butt, kick all the ass, kick all the tush, and hopefully we see you in, I don't know, Impact, AEW, wherever you want to go next. Even if it isn't in wrestling, just see you having a good time, living your best life, because you deserve better than what happened to you here, buddy. So sadly, we're not 100% done here because I recorded this entire video of all the people that were released by WWE in the last 12 months. 2021 was just all the releases, and then WWE released one more person very late in the day, and that was Jeff Hardy. Now, we didn't really have a lot of concrete information as to why Jeff was released when it first happened. Everyone pointed to the Texas event where he looked really worse for wear and then headed off through the crowd as possibly the reason for this. And then it later came to light that he was offered rehab by WWE, and now Dave Meltzer has confirmed that this was the reason that he was released, because he turned down that rehab and they decided that instead of suspending him, they were probably better off just releasing him and letting him figure out what he does next and get the help that he needs in his own time when he feels ready for it. So all we can do as a What Culture Wrestling team is wish Jeff the best. We're all supporting you, man, and we just hope that you smash whatever it is you do next. So that has been every wrestler released by WWE in 2021. That was big, that was long, so thank you for staying with me. I think I'm probably going to go and have a cry now. I'm going to have a sleep because I feel so bad that so many people lost their jobs this year. But let me know what you think of all these people. Show your love and support to them in the comment section right down below. Just let them know you're just going to be supporting them wherever they go next in wrestling, outside of wrestling, because they need to hear it. I've been Gareth from What Culture Wrestling. Follow myself on Twitter at gmorgan04. Follow everyone here at What Culture WWE, and go and like the video, subscribe to it, subscribe to everything What Culture, and just share all of our good stuff. Go and check out all the articles online, the article for this as well, because Michael Amflet said some very funny stuff that I can't remember because I'm an idiot. But most importantly than all this, go and have yourself the best day possible, and screw you WWE for letting go of all these talented people. Screw you.